Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma. My name is Tina. I'm a YouTuber. So I want to ask you some few questions. I know you're South Africans, right? And I've heard a lot from South Africans that they say, oh, that they've suffered for their country, and people are coming, spoiling the country, and the way the country is that they don't like it. That if they have their way, they won't allow foreigners to be in the country. Now I want to ask, as a South African, if they ask you, what is June 16, what would you say?
I would say June 16. Oh, my name is Luba. I would say June 16. It for me it represents the youth, the kids. It was when the kids they took a stand. They were saying enough is enough. You know, back then everything at schools they were taught in Afrikaans. Imagine you are asked to do science in Afrikaans. This language is not even your mother's language. And for example, I'm a Xhosa, so Africans, I still need to learn this language, but I don't understand this language. I still to learn these topics, but still I have a barrier with this language. So the kids, they took a stand. They said enough is enough. It was in 1976, if I remember clearly, whereby the kids, yes, in Soweto, where we had the Soweto uprising, yes, all the kids, they took a stand. They showed the adults that enough is enough. That was where it all clicked, even for the adults. That no, enough was enough, and then everyone they joined. So that was, you know, we have a lot of kids that died that day, the youth, but it shook the whole world. That was when Abo Hector Peterson, Dr. Peterson was a young boy who passed away. There was a famous photograph of that incident around that time. And you know, there are even people there. One of the guys that was in that famous photograph that was captured around that moment, he was there, and he went to exile. He escaped, he ran, he left everything, and even up to now, no one knows where he is. So it was really terrible, it was really bad. But it shows us that anything is possible if we can take a stand, if we can fight. If the kids did it that time, then we can also do it.
So in other words, my brother, what he's trying to say is, so when uprising and everything that happened that time is what we commemorate on a particular day like this. That's what we say of what has happened in that time in 1972 when on Soweto uprising and people were killed, and then we are commemorating that those people were killed. We thank you for your effort, for everything that you have done for us, for the freedom that you fought for us, so that we'll be able to stand as South Africans in this freedom that we have today.
Yeah, and also there's a lot that was happening back then, like during the apartheid. You know, like the black schools. You could there was a lot of, like, there's a difference between a private school and a public school. A public black school, the way we were taught not to, you know, there was this thing called Bantu education, whereby what we are learning here at school, we are only being taught to go and work for a white person. Yeah. You can't get skills or like science, like the deep stuff that will make you to be an independent person. So you have to depend on them.
Okay, I want to ask another question now. You were forced to work for the white men. Then why is it that South Africans, some not generalizing, South Africans has problem with fellow black people? Why don't they have problem with the whites that force them to do some tedious job? Why are they having problem with the fellow blacks?
You know what the problem is? The problem is it's within, you know, everywhere where we are, there are always people with their secret agendas, and then they know where, you know, they know where my problem is. I have an issue. This is my wife. I have an issue with my wife, and then there is within that issue, I'm not showing it, but then Mama would come. She knows I have an issue with her, but she will reveal that issue, but indirectly, and then it will click, and then I'll say, no man, this is the problem. Whereas actually the problem is, it's not my fellow brother or my wife. So I would say it's those people who have their own secret agendas that causes us to fight one another as black brothers. For example, what I would say, you see what is happening now, or what was happening, whereby the white or the Afrikaners, they were saying they are being massacred, there was a genocide, and it was something that was in here, and everyone was talking about it all over the world, and they believed that it was something that was really happening, whereas we are actually here in South Africa, and none of that is happening. If it was happening, all the Afrikaners, they would go to America to stay there. So it's something like that. There are always people with their own agendas. Even like now, I cannot be fighting you as my sister, because that back then during the apartheid, our people, they ran for help to our fellow brothers and sisters up here in Africa, and you guys, you took us. We never fought. There was no conflict. It's only now with this political. It's all political.
Because now we are in power, so they want to make it a point that us black people, we are not
each other,
and it is happening because we now see a difference between a South African and a Nigerian, whereas we are one.
Yeah, and you know, when you guys are not united, that's when you are division.
Yeah.
So it's divide and conquer.
And can I say something with when you ask if why blacks don't have a problem with the white people? I'm happy that Mandela planted peace.
Yeah.
Because Mandela, when he came out of prison and he became a president, he said, "Let us forgive them." Of which I think the forgiveness is so important that we Christians too, the Bible is teaching us about forgiveness, and I'm happy that Mandela said, "Let us forgive them." You see, so I think that's the reason why he planted that peace between us and the white people, and we did not fight them back. You see, so I think that was a wise decision he took. And when I think of it now I'm a child of God, I think it was more wiser.
Yeah, and also poverty, hunger, unemployment, it also plays a part. They are keeping the people poor, the blacks poor, and then as a foreigner, if I were to go to Nigeria or any other country, if we were struggling in my own country and I'll go there, as a foreigner, I'll take any employment that I'm getting. So the guys that are employing maybe illegal foreigners, they are employing them because those guys, they need job. And obviously I am starving, I need a job, I'll take that job. Even though I know that I am illegal, not supposed to be here, I'm a foreigner. And then I will take any money that you are going to give me. And then now for the fellow South African who knows that he's supposed to be here and he's supposed to get this job, he's not getting that job. That is also another thing they are using to divide us. Yes. Because obviously if I were in their shoes, I would also take that job. Even them, who are fighting, they would also take that job. So that is also part of the divide and conquer that they are using.
I just want to add one thing. As a Zimbabwean in South Africa, I would say the white people or the employers, they are seeking for cheap labor. When they have the cheap labor now, it's obvious that as a person who came from another country to seek greener pastures and come here, even if I'm being given peanuts, I'll accept it because, like he's saying, I'll accept it because I need to pay rent house, I need to send money home, I need to do a lot of stuff. But by so doing now, and my fellow South African brother is saying, I'm a teacher, you're a teacher, you're getting peanuts, but I'm fighting for me to have more. But if me and him don't agree, so means saying somewhere we need to have a campaign, a campaign where you go around and say, we are not fighting each other, we're not supposed to fight each other, but let's liaise between two of us, or liaise between ourselves as Africans, and be able to explain to each other how best can we deal with these employers so that we will be able to have the rightful amount or salaries to be paid unto us, or wages. You understand? So that's one thing that I've realized, that our employers, they're playing a big role rather in causing division among black people. Because if you go to America right now, you find that those states that are in America, not called United States in America, there's no permits, there's no passport, there's nothing. If you go to Europe, a person using this ID to go in a train to go to Russia from London to Russia, they don't use passports. So why are we being divided? These things started a long time when they did this Berlin conference in Congo. When Otto von Bismarck, when they're doing this, they put borders in these African countries. So that thing, only the reason why they were doing that, they were trying to remove the unity among African people. So when the unity is taken away, already division is there. You understand?
Obviously, when we are hungry, like when you are suffering or when there are mistakes, you will always look for someone to blame, and then they gave us who to blame, and it was the
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much.